Hi, I'm Chuck McDonald. I'm the founder and CEO of Chrysilla LLC. I'm a small business consulting firm that works with business owners on educating them on their financial blind spots and helping them turn those blind spots and the things they don't know into opportunities to create value over time. So today, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the value of what we would call holistic planning. So a lot of people have a financial advisor, or they might have a lawyer, and they have a CPA or an insurance specialist. And especially when it comes to making big decisions in the realm of exit planning for a business, we really think it's important to have all of those things represented. Now, obviously, not all of them are going to be needed in every case. But for the most part, I mean, the four that I just mentioned are definitely going to be important. Why is that? Well, if you approach something from a silo or of somebody with a particular expertise in a particular thing, the law of unintended consequences can really rear its ugly head. And as I was thinking about speaking on this topic, I was reminded of an example from when I was a financial advisor myself. I had a prospective client who said he wanted to meet with me, but he was working on a project to have his mom's house gifted to him. Okay. And so, and sure enough, over time, he actually did sit down with me and became a client, somebody I worked with for a long time. But before that, when we sat down for our initial meeting, he tells me this story, and he says, "Well, I've been very busy. I've been dealing with this transaction of getting my mom's house gifted to me." And I said, "All right, well, let's talk about that. What's going on?" And he wouldn't tell me any of this before we actually sat down. I said, "So what was the idea?" He goes, "Well, my mom's attorney suggested that she gift her house to me. I don't know why. I think maybe it was for Medicaid reasons, which in and of itself is a very, very dicey and risky way to go about qualifying for Medicaid for a lot of different reasons, which are beyond the scope of this discussion. But needless to say, it was something that happened and it was done." And I said, "Okay, well, let's talk about this house because now it's an asset. As a financial advisor, I should know something about." I was like, "Well, what did your mom pay for that asset?" "Well, it was maybe like $40,000 or $50,000. She's owned it for like 50 years. All right. Do you plan to live in the house? What's going to happen to it once she passes away?" "Oh, we're just going to sell it." "All right. How old is your mom?" At the time, I forget the exact number, but I think she was in her late 80s. "Okay. What's the house worth right now?" It was in a very nice part of town. "Oh, about $600,000. All right. So then what I proceeded to explain to him is that when he goes to sell the house, he will need to plan on paying capital gains tax on that because that very, very low basis that his mom had would have transferred over directly to the recipient of the gift. If he had waited until his mom passed away and he would have received the house through an inheritance, then the cost basis of that asset would have been stepped up to the value of her passing or the value at the time of her passing, and therefore very, very likely that he would have paid zero capital gains taxes on it. It's probably saving him around $100,000, which would have paid for my fee a number of times over the course of several years. So that 10-minute conversation could have saved him the fees associated with the work that I had done. We kind of stumbled through that. He was a little bit shocked. Like I said, obviously we worked together for a very, very long time afterwards, but I'm just reminded of this situation because it highlights the value of really making sure that all the experts are at the table when you're having a conversation, especially when it comes to making big financial decisions. the law of unintended consequences, which I mentioned earlier, I mean, that can rear its ugly head in a lot of these types of situations. If you are looking to sell your business, there's definitely going to be tax implications, legal implications, estate planning implications, risks associated with insurance. All of these things are going to come into play. And one of the things that it's very important to do is to make sure that you have all the right players at the table when talking about making these kinds of moves and doing it early. And it's not to say that you have to, at the very last minute, have everybody come in and take one final look-see at this. The more you know ahead of time and the more that you can plan for an eventual exit is what's going to make it successful. So that's the short message for today, is make sure that you recognize the value of holistic planning and ensuring that you've got all the right members of the party at the table. And if you don't know exactly who that is, it's definitely a great idea to get a experienced advisor who can recognize all those issues and be able to marshal the resources necessary for that. All right. And with that, I am Chuck McDonald. I'm a founder and CEO of Chrysilla, and I do small business consulting and exit planning. With that, I want to thank you for listening. And if there's anything that you want to add or comment or anything else, any other questions that come up, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to address them at a future date. I appreciate your attention. Until next time.